Before moving on to the next part, basic syntax, I will introduce to you the IPython. So this is IPython.org website. So IPython is a powerful interactive cell and support for interactive data visualization and the use of UI toolkits. And also support to highlight your code in different colors, so it's a better way for you to understand the code. Okay, I will guide you how to install it on your system. So please open your command prompt and you type the command pip install IPython. So pip is a Python package manager and install is a command for install the package name IPython. So I execute it and wait for a minute, I think, and then when finished we can execute the command IPython. And here you will see the same thing like in the interactive mode with Python. So you see Python 3.9.1 here, something very similar to the previous interactive mode with Python here. But here you see the color is black and white, which is very boring and quite it's not easy for you to read the code and to understand the code. So here you have color, highlights, and keyword for you, and the string. Here, so you see the function name print is in green color, and the string here is in red color. So it's better for you to understand the code too. Yeah. So it's more beautiful. So this is way how you do it on the Windows. So let's say how to do it on the Linux. So suppose that this is a terminal, it's a Linux. So what you do to install the IPython is a bit different. So you type the command sudo apt install IPython 3 because you use Python 3, right? So okay, yes, and wait for a minute. Okay, so the same thing, we type the IPython, but remember to put the version 3 and then execute it. Okay, you will see very similar thing here, right? Very similar. So you also have the way to do the hello world, which is in color, better color. So okay, this is IPython. Let's get back to the basic syntax. So the first thing I would like to introduce to you is the Python identifier, which is the name used to identify a variable, function, class, module, or other objects. An identifier starts with a letter uppercase or lowercase or an underscore, then followed by 0 or more letters, underscore, and digits from 0 to 9. So let's see some example of identifier. So let's say we have here, so we can have identifier is a like a name for variable. This is the easiest way for you at this point. So like we have say a number equal to 7, so that's we have a number, and then we have the variable is just an integer and the value is 7, and we can also have the a number with the underscore and a number, and then we also have the number, something like this. The underscore start first and the number. So yeah, you see on that three, this the three example here are the valid identifier. Please remember that you cannot like start an identifier with a number, something like this, 0 number equal to 0. So you will see like in syntax error, something like this, and you cannot put the number before, but you can put the number after or anywhere in the variable name. So yeah, you see, okay. And another thing you should remember that an identifier cannot contain like space or other special character, something like $, or bracket, or anything else, because this serve for different purpose, so you cannot use it in an identifier. So we can see syntax error anytime you use something like this. So yeah, please remember the syntax of an identifier. The next thing we talk is about the reserved word. So Python key, the reserved word is as Python keywords that you cannot use them as constant or variable or any other identifier names. So that means the Python uses for different purpose. So you cannot see it. So here, please see the textbook for further, and you can see like the and, the def, the except, the if, the not is not. You cannot use this as the identifier name. Let me show you. Like if you can say if equal to 9, so you can see the syntax error, and because if is served for different purpose, and something like this. So here if, true, and pass are three reserved words in Python, so you cannot use it. So don't worry about the syntax of the command here. We're going to learn about it later. But let's say the pass is true, you cannot use it as like a variable, something like this. Okay. Okay, the next basic syntax is lines and indentation. So in the scripting mode, Python commands are written and executed line by line. So that means for the easiest way, you can write each command on each line. So it looks like this. So the each line will be executed sequentially. So let's say Python 3 test.py, and you see the result here. And Python also provides a way to write many commands in a single line using a semicolon. So you can merge the two lines with a semicolon here, and you set the file and you execute code. You can see the same thing. But please remember that the sequence of the commands to be executed will be from left to the right. And in the interactive mode, we also see the same thing. Okay, let's say the IPython. Sorry, here. So you can see, yeah, you can see that we also can use multiple comments in a single line in the interactive mode, something like this. And please remember that in Python you have to be careful about the indentation. So that means all the line in the single block will be in the same indentation. You cannot put the space as this. So let's try this file. So you see unexpected indent. So the correct syntax should be the same indent for the lines in the same block. So here is correct. So that means different indent will define different block of code. So here another example, you see here we see this block will print out the hello world and the Pythonese fun line, and this block will print out the thank you. So this is if command, but please don't worry much about it. So like let's say we execute the code, and you see this time all three lines here are printed out. So if I change this condition, so this block will not be executed. So you only see the thank you print out on the screen. So see, yeah. So that means this block is not executed in this time at this time. So that is a way how Python organize the block of code using indentation. Sometimes you have to write very long commands. If you write them in a single line, they won't be very ugly. Python provides the multi-line statements syntax so that you can split the long line code into shorter lines and more readable. So for example, we let's say we have a very long line code, something like this, right? And then you have a way to split it using the continuation character with the black slot. So let's say, okay, sorry, something like this, right? So okay, you have the way to break the long line, something like this, into 3-line code, look like this, and then you execute it. We see the same thing here. The tip is that you should not write more than 8 characters in a single line of code. And the next thing we talk about the quotation. Python accepts single quotation, double quotation, and a triple quotation to denote the string literals, and as long as the same type of the quotation is used and ends as a string. So, for example, we can see like a string like name Henry. This is a double quotation, or you can even use single quotation or even triple quotation, something like this, triple single quotation, and you can even use triple double quotation. Same thing. The final thing in this basic syntax part is comments and blank lines. A hard sign that is not inside a string literal begins in like comments. So something like write your comment here. So the comments will not be executed, so you can write anything in the comments. So the purpose of writing the comments is to explain the code for the other people who read the code will understand your code better. So let's say if you have the command like this, hello world, I'm sorry, so this part of the comments will be executed while the comments here will not be executed. So you see, okay. Another thing is a blank line. So in the scripting mode, you will see like some line we just left it blank without any character. So this is the same, the same as the comments here, that this line will not be executed